So this will be a continuation of you watched my other video. I took apart the air mass pump. I was able to only get the one underneath the tire well. So for this is a 4.7. So the air pumps, and this surprisingly is underneath here. The air intake manifold. So unfortunately I have to get to that to get to the air pump, air master pump. So on the 5.7, they're both located on the tire well. For the 4.7, as this is, one there sits there, one sits over here. So it was the middle of winter, so this is basically a continuation of that. We're gonna replace the air pump, air mass pump. So we'll take this apart and I'll show you how to do that. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. So I know what I'm gonna mess around with, so best safe to just disconnect the negative wire from the battery. I'm gonna do that with a 10mm. I usually keep a rag around so that way it doesn't touch any grounding as I disconnect. This can be negative, so with this one. Just to loosen up, just get it off the post. So get this off, get a rag. That way it's not touching the battery. Move on, we'll take the acorn nuts off the covers. So 10mm acorn nuts. These come off. I need a deep socket. And I like to keep the nuts and bolts where it belongs, so I'm going to go remove them exactly where they were. It comes off, so I put the bolts back where they belong. Okay. Good to go, GTG. Wow. I'll take it off. Just how many 4 snaps to hold in the air box. We'll disconnect the mass flow sensor here. Just unplug it. Set it off to the side. This should be easily unplugged. Just pull this here. There you go. Same thing here. Pinch the clamp. Pull back. If you have watched my show and you like to use the 45-degree ear nose, gets everything out quickly. Wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. There it is. It's out. 10mm hose clamps for the mass flow. And we should be up now. There you go. Okay, so this comes off. The box comes out. Snorkel. Attach. Some of these kind of animals are still trying to bite my air box. Nope. There you go. Here's your air box. There it is. Slide this out. There it is. Now, be aware the mass intake has rubber gaskets on here, so don't lose that. In fact, I'll just take it out just so I don't lose it. Remember, there's a tab to the left of this air mass flow. So see a little tab there. It stays alive. You can see the indentation on this one, but just be aware. That way you're not losing this piece. I need a little bracket. I'm just moving as I go along. And I usually put it right back because that way I don't it doesn't disappear on me per se. Unplug this one. Press and pull. It doesn't work. We can use our handy dandy 45-degree pliers. You don't know pliers. Exact. There we go. Let's see. I disconnected the fuel rail right there. Fuel rail source. That's connected to this one. Here. Here's the clip. Goes over it. I'm just going to cover it with a pair of gloves. Okay, this is what I did. I took off the screws that held the wiring to the fuel rail. There's 10mm there. Took that one off, 10mm here. And there's another connector here. As you can see, that's gasoline right there. And there's a hole there. So that's coming off the fuel rail. And the fuel rail is attached to the airbox right here. So I gotta take that off. And then, actual bolt that holds the whole shebang in is actually right here. It's this bolt right there, that one. That's a real bolt. All right, we'll continue on. We'll do the same thing on this side as far as the fuel rail. We'll follow along. I got this side out. I took the fuel rail that goes across. There's the grip tower, just make sure no particles in there. Take out the 12mm bolts that's holding this in, one there, one way back there, right there. All right, keep going, plugging along. We'll, I detached that. All these came off. This came off. All these brackets that were being held in, took them off. I put the bolts right back. A pro tip there. Everything's pretty much loose. Got to get to this thing and then be on our way. So pro tip here. There's a 10mm that holds this whole wiring harness. It's going to be in your way. So this wiring harness here, this one here, it's going to be 10mm. See right there. Remove that. That's 10mm, and then in the back of this, you follow the fuel rail, go back, and it's going to stay hidden right back here. It's a clamp, a 10mm clamp that bolts to this. And you need a open wrench, a ratchet wrench to get that out. So it's at 10mm. Another pro tip is right behind this fuel rail. This one kind of feeds the other line, but there's nothing feeding it per se. It's just a bracket, kind of loose. So it's 10mm that holds this bracket in. Just unscrew the back of it, and then you should be able to take out the fuel rail. As is this one, that fuel rail is off. That's from the passenger side. All right, there it is. So the biggest issue I had was there's a retaining screw here, 10mm, that holds to the back of the manifold, air intake manifold. You gotta take that off because this is part of the wire harness. This is gonna hold you back if you don't take that off. So there's one right here. It's actually right next to the wiring. See, if you're seeing this from the outside, it'll look like that. Kind of sits right about there, 10mm. And the second one you want to take out is this one, 10mm also. So shout out to 787 mechanic. He did his on a Sequoia and it's pretty much the same setup. So get that one out, get that one out, and then you'll be able to lift the whole thing up. So here's the air injection pump. So on the 4.7 they're here, and the 5.7 they're in the tire well over there. So second one, first one, second one in here. So we're going to switch that out. Got the parts from Amazon. Here's your starter if you're ever curious. For these trucks, I don't know why would you put a starter right in the middle of the manifold. That would be very difficult to get to. All right, so that's the pro tip, is take those 10 millimeters out of that one and that one. That should be able to lift up. So it'll look like this. The back of it. Here's the 10 millimeter that went in here. Had to disconnect the fuel, the return fuel line. I advise you. Here's the cover for that. It's just a cover. Just as if you had the main fuel line, it's pinch and pull. So for this one, sit right there. That's it. So that one. Pinch and pull on this one. Here's the return. Here's the feeding line, the return line. So basically I took off the cover. You'll see these blue caps. Pinch together and pull back. So you have to remove the two fuel rails. I know the other guy, he kind of kept the fuel rails on, but basically took everything off. The two fuel rails, everything I could. And it seems like these little gerbils like to live in these trucks because I got nothing but acorn all over the place. So I'm gonna clean that out, get maybe a leaf blower and blow all this out, and then start cleaning up. We'll take this thing out. All right, I took out the tubing that goes to here. It's actually broke off. That's it. Goes right to that one. That comes off. And I'll sprayed some electronic dust blaster. Make sure all the heads are clean, no dirt, debris. I also stuffed it with paper towels. So that anyway, I disconnected this. This goes to the air pump. So let's tuck that away. That goes to the air pump. We'll take this off and replace it. So I took the three bolts holding down the air injection pump. 1, 2, 3. So those come off. The new one. So the old one broke. So they actually broke right there. Just trying to take off the nozzle. So new ones come with these. They come in pairs, but if you saw my other video, I was only do the one defender because of the winter time. So they gave you new rubber ones, so it kind of goes this way. That way. And put it in here. And there's no snorkel on this one. The new ones come with snorkel. So what's happening is animals been getting inside my engine. It's a big truck. So to protect yourself, you kind of put the snorkel on top. So that way it only sucks in the air, it doesn't suck in the animals and acorns. All right, let's put it together. So pro tip, you have to remove the old clip from the old one and slide into here to adapt there. All right, so that's in. We got pump and put the snorkel on top of that. I'm gonna clean out all these cylinders, make sure there's no debris in there, and put it back in the reverse order. So next clip you'll see is the whole thing will be put back together. All right, so all put back together. So you got to prime the fuel rail because we pretty much empty out the fuel rail. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the engine to one click. Just make sure that we go to AC or turn to ACC to have it on, kind of prime the engine, and we'll take it from there. Hear the humming noise. Do it again. Do it 3 times. Let the fuel get primed. One more time. New gaskets for the fuel injections, O-rings. So get all new ones. Since you're at it, just might as well change all of them. No pro tip there. All right, let's turn it over. It should sound a little better. All right, let's check out all the seals. Those look good. Looks like that's just my seatbelt light. All right, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. A little update on my wife's Honda. Looks like the clock came back if you guys up to date on everything. So we're working on this Honda. Yeah. The date came back. I mean, the time came back, but the date is still incorrect. It still says 2003. Comment below if you know how to fix that, or if Honda's going to actually come up with something to fix that. If not, if we get up to 150 subscribers, I'll put a CarPlay into this car, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, till next time.